Do not start your car tomorrow morning until you have heard every single word of what I am about to tell you. These are not minor adjustments buried inside a government bulletin that nobody reads. These are sweeping, aggressive, deeply consequential changes to the rules that govern every single driver on every single highway in this country. And the enforcement has already begun. Drivers are already being pulled over. Tickets are already being mailed to home addresses. Insurance companies are already processing reviews. And the overwhelming majority of Canadians behind the wheel have absolutely no idea that the driving habits they have relied on for 30, 40, sometimes 50 years are now putting their wallets, their licenses, and their freedom at serious risk. What makes this so alarming is not just the size of the fines. What makes this alarming is who these rules are catching. Not reckless teenagers weaving through traffic. Not street racers or repeat offenders. The people being caught off guard right now are responsible. Ordinary Canadians. Seniors driving to doctor's appointments. Retirees visiting their grandchildren. Working families on the same highways they have driven for years. People who have never received a single ticket in their entire lives. And the truth that most people find deeply unsettling is this. You do not need to do something dramatically wrong to trigger a penalty under these new rules. One glance. One hesitation. One missed sign. That is all it takes. If you are new here, welcome. This is Canada Pension News Bulletin, and this channel exists to make sure that everyday Canadian drivers, especially seniors and people on fixed incomes, never get blindsided by laws that change quietly and punish loudly. Stay with me until the very end because what we are covering today touches every single aspect of your daily drive. Let us begin with construction zones, because this is already catching thousands of people completely off guard. For decades, many drivers assumed that reduced speed limits were most strictly enforced when workers were physically visible on site. That assumption is now costing people hundreds of dollars. Fines inside active construction zones have doubled in Ontario and Alberta, and in some provinces they are tripling. Even when there is not a single worker visible anywhere on site, the cones alone are now legally sufficient to trigger full enforcement. A speed just 10 kilometers over the limit inside one of these zones can cost you over $600. Add 3 demerit points to your license and trigger an automatic insurance review. Officers along the 401, the QEW, and Highway 1 in British Columbia are running zero-tolerance patrols. There is no more sliding through. The sign means exactly what it says the moment you enter that zone. Now distracted driving. And this one is even more expansive than most people realize. The majority of Canadian drivers know that using a handheld phone while moving is illegal. What they do not know is that the updated rules treat a red light exactly the same way. If your vehicle is in drive and you pick up your phone, glance at a smartwatch notification, or adjust your GPS while sitting at an intersection, you can be charged with a full distracted driving offense. In Ontario, the minimum penalty for a first charge is $615, 3 demerit points, and a 3-day suspension that takes effect immediately on the spot. You do not drive home. Officers in Quebec and British Columbia are now using unmarked vehicles and elevated highway cameras to catch drivers from angles they never see coming. Many seniors who rest their phone on their lap for navigation are walking directly into these charges because the law no longer cares about your intention. Holding the phone is enough. Having it visible in your hand is enough. Lane merging is next, and this affects every driver who has ever entered a highway. New aggressive merging laws are now in effect, and enforcement has been directed to treat unsafe lane changes with the same seriousness as careless driving. Fines reach $2,000, 6 demerit points, and in repeat cases a possible 6-month license suspension. The updated rule requires a full shoulder check, a turn signal held for a legally mandated minimum number of seconds, and a gap that meets a measured legal standard. The merging technique that felt perfectly natural to you for 20 or 30 years may now qualify as an illegal maneuver, and the officer who witnesses it does not have to give you a warning. Tailgating has become one of the most heavily penalized behaviors on Canadian roads, and the enforcement mechanism behind it is something that changes everything. Roadside cameras and dashcam reporting systems are now accepted as legal evidence for following too closely offenses. If your vehicle is recorded following another car too closely, even for just a few seconds, a ticket can be mailed directly to your home with no officer, no flashing lights, no conversation. Fines start at $490, climb past $1,000 for repeat offenses, and carry 4 demerit points. Seniors who were taught the old 2-second rule need to know that the legal safe following distance has been increased, and what felt completely normal yesterday is now classified as aggressive driving today. Pedestrian laws have expanded in ways that surprise even experienced drivers. In Ontario, failing to yield to a pedestrian who is simply approaching a crosswalk, not yet stepping onto the road, can result in a fine of up to $1,000 and 4 demerit points. British Columbia is going further with repeat offenders now facing mandatory court appearances. The The slow rolling pass through a crosswalk that looks empty is now a complete violation the moment any pedestrian is near it. Officers are stationed at marked crosswalks in every major Canadian city. School zone cameras are now active nearly everywhere, and the thresholds have dropped dramatically. Even 5 kilometers over the posted limit can trigger a ticket mailed to your address with no warning and no conversation. These cameras operate 7 days a week in many regions, not only on school days. Fines in Ontario begin at $150 and rise sharply with speed. Drivers passing through early in the morning or on weekends are being caught because they do not realize the zone designation never switches off. For senior drivers specifically, license renewal requirements are tightening across multiple provinces. Additional vision testing, cognitive screening, and mandatory in-person renewals that were previously handled by mail are now required in certain age brackets. Missing a single renewal notice can lead to an automatic suspension. If you or someone you love is approaching renewal age, please check your provincial requirements tonight. And do not underestimate what one small ticket can do to your finances. Under the new insurance rules now active across Canada, even a single minor infraction can trigger an immediate premium review. Increases of 25, 50, and even 100% for repeat offenses are becoming common. One distracted driving ticket alone can raise your annual premium by over $1,500 and follow you for 3 consecutive years. For anyone living on a fixed income, that is not a fine, that is a permanent change to your monthly life. Here is the truth you need to carry with you. The Canada you drove through yesterday no longer exists in legal terms. The cameras are watching roads they were not watching before. The fines are higher than they have ever been. And the rules now affect completely ordinary, careful, responsible people. But you watched this video. You are prepared in ways that millions of other Canadian drivers are not. Please subscribe so we can keep protecting you before the next update reaches your driveway. Share this with everyone in your life who gets behind the wheel, because the most expensive mistake they ever make might be the one they never saw coming. Drop a comment below telling us which rule surprised you the most. And join our WhatsApp channel through the link in the description so you never miss a critical update like this one.